All right, we've roped in a SABC Clinic CEO, Doreen Mokoena, who joins me live here in a studio, and Kwanele Foundation founder, SABC, joins me virtually, in fact, joins us on the line. Good afternoon to you both, ladies. Doreen, perhaps let me start with you. I mean, I want to get your reaction on the murder of Olorato and how it happened. I mean, South Africa, again, has been left shocked. Yet again, I must say, because we find more and more crimes of this nature are so shocking. Olorato did everything right that women are told to do. Women who live in fear daily of being raped, of being murdered. You know, you need to check in with your friends. You need to share your location. She did all of that. And yet in 2 hours, she was found dead. I mean, just your reaction on this.
It's actually unformed. We cannot fathom how femicide is rising in South Africa. Even if you have control measures, security control measures, I mean, women do get killed. So for now, it's not even a matter of us coming back together to fight femicide. It's there. So we just need to come together to build awareness around, you know, measures women can actually take, you know, to prevent this. It's unpreventable, but there has to be a point of departure somewhere. It is this broke my heart, and I can imagine how the family is going through. But now the question is, what is it? What's next, South Africa?
Absolutely.
What is it that we're gonna do?
Sihle, I want to pose the same question to you. Of course, as the Kwanele Foundation, you do a lot of work around gender-based violence. When you heard the news of this particular story, I mean, what went through your mind?
Thank you for having me on SABC News. I think when we heard the story, I in particular was devastated. I was distraught to say, actually in our country as a woman, you are not safe. You are not safe in schools. You're not safe in malls. You're not safe at the post office. I mean, as my learned colleague just said there, that Olorato did everything, followed all the steps that a reasonable, sensible woman would have followed to say, I'm going on a date. Here's my location. Should you need me, A, B, C, D, only to find her dead. So this for me has left me gutted and shattered to say, where else should we go? Because women are not safe in churches. We're not safe anywhere, because we see that gender-based violence, especially femicide, which is the killing of women and children, is on an extreme high in South Africa. It's heartbreaking to see that South Africa has been named the #1, the capital country of rape and murder in Africa, and #5 with regards to femicide in the entire world.
Sihle, I'm going to come back to you and the work that you do, particularly when you look at the churches, all religious environments, in fact. But Doreen, I want to talk about the world of AI. Especially when we consider social media. I mean, this incident, in the first time when we heard about it, we heard they might have met online. Then it was later clarified that they actually met in a mall. But when we speak about social media, the dangers for you know, people that are faced with gender-based violence, children and women, what should we look out for, particularly when we speak about profile identification?
So it's very difficult to actually verify a profile online.
You
know, because I mean, even big tech is being hit by this, is being hit by invoice scams. So let alone a woman who's trying to identify or verify the person they are talking about. I think the only redress, you know, is that tech needs to be used for good. In as much as we're building these technologies, we also need to build verification and authentication measures in place. So if ever a profile has been verified, that this is the real human, you know, there's an ID, it has been verified, it becomes easier to track the metadata, you know, between the person you're chatting to and the person that you're trying to meet. So for now, the only thing that we really need to do is whenever you launch a tech platform, especially a dating platform, make sure that ID verifications are done, you know, before you can actually go on and meet the person in real life. So verification and authentication is a very difficult process to do, especially when you're building technology, because it's one of the ground pieces that, you know, developers need to take into consideration. But we need to start, you know, building technology with safety in mind, especially for safety for women and children.
Yeah. And I mean, it's Child Protection Week. It starts today. A lot of our children are online.
Definitely.
And a lot of the parents don't actually know where to begin when it comes to checking and verifying, are they in fact speaking to a peer versus, you know, an adult? What are the maybe top 3 or top 5, you know, key steps that parents need to keep in mind?
So the first thing is we have these bad players, bad actors actually using AI to generate their fake profiles. And they profile, because you can prompt AI to generate a profile that speaks to a kid and that, you know, that uses, you know, personalized terms, you know, maybe they will use cocomelon, something that will relate to the child, and the child will divide information. So the first thing is to actually do not allow your child to be on social media. You know, digital literacy is a big problem for us in South Africa. I mean, we adults cannot actually verify transactions, emails. What about a child? How do they verify that they're speaking to the right person?
Especially when you look at other countries that have now, you know, put legislation in place to prevent children under the age of 13, I think it's Australia, to be on social media. But Sihle, let's talk about religious groups and the safety of women there. I mean, we've seen what happened in the Omotoso trial. It has still left many of the victims scared and were wondering, where are we safe? We're not safe in the post office. We're not safe in malls. We're not safe in our gated communities. What about religious groups? And I want you to add there religious schools, you know, Christian schools. We've seen a high-profile school in Johannesburg where there's an ongoing court case where, you know, one of the children there in his adulthood committed suicide after, you know, being traumatized during his schooling career, where he was sexually molested at school under the guise of then this Christian community.
I think for me, the most saddest thing is that you find that, especially in the church setup, a lot of grooming happens, and grooming happens from the time you join the church. They already vet you. Who are you? What do you do? And if they see that you are easily manipulated, the grooming starts from there. I mean, I speak from a position of once being a victim within the church, where I ended up staying in a mission house because my parents or my mother was convinced that I am born of the world, but I'm not of this world. And the most painful part of it is that most of the time it's women that are enablers of abuse within the church setup. Because you find that in my case, the more I reported that this is what I'm seeing is happening within the church space, I'm getting abused, I'm getting sexualized, other kids are getting sexually violated. The more you report it to your mother, or the more you report it to a female, the very female goes back and tells the pastor, the papa, the man of God, which is then secondary victimization. So you never come out of it. I mean, with the Omotoso case right now, they are happy. They're saying the God of Omotoso has set him free. That means he's done nothing wrong. And it is sickening and sad to see that it's women that will stand outside the courthouses and march and celebrate this man. When you speak of the young man that committed suicide because of the sexual violation that happened at school, remember when you're being groomed, especially if it's a church or a school which is supposedly a Christian school, you are being groomed. And then there's also that term called Stockholm Syndrome, where you end up falling in love with your rapist. You end up falling in love with your sexual violator. But then there comes a point where you reach breaking point, where you realize that, hang on, man, something is not right here, and I'm not supposed to be treated in this manner. And chances are that is why that young person, may God rest, may condolences to him and his family, committed suicide. So women are not safe. Uyinene went to the post office. She never came back. At school, it's still investigations happening. Olorato made love. She thought she was going on a date. She followed all the steps. She never came back. At church, girls are put in these praise and worship teams. You are singing in the choir. You are ushers at church. You are staying at a mission house, but you are being groomed, sexualized for such things.
Sister, thank you so much for those words. I mean, I think you've touched on a number of issues. Doreen, I want to close our conversation with you. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I mean, we were joking earlier in the studio that we're both wearing black. And I mean, it does feel like a period of mourning, doesn't it?
It does.
But a number of articles that have been written since Olorato's, death also point to the fact that we're always outraged, when it comes to these issues. But when do we put the blame on society? When do we start speaking about society's responsibility? I mean, it's quite shocking to hear that in this Olorato case, one of the suspects, the mother, has been arrested because she called and tried to tip off allegedly her son, who's being implicated in this crime. Just your parting shot in terms of societal responsibility.
I think now the responsibility is going to be shifted to law enforcement.
Yeah.
Are we creating environment that is safe for victims, especially when it comes to investigating? Are we creating investigating outcomes that is gender and victim orientated? Because obviously, if the victim was actually treated in a specific manner, the other perpetrator wouldn't have been tipped. There are measures when it comes to investigations, especially, forensic investigation into criminal matters. How it's done, because we went into public, their pictures were all over, they were plastered on social media. Obviously, we were supposed to contain that before it gets publicized, because now the perpetrators have been tipped off, So for now, I would really urge women to come together. Let's create these repositories, where we tell each other, look out for this person, look out for these psychological playbooks. Right now on TikTok or on social media, women are coming together who have been scammed and approached by this person. So just imagine if we had a national repository, like how we have a national repository on sex offenders. This will actually help women, because before you go on the stage, you verify with the repository if this has been reported prior and what has been done. So at this point, as women, as developers, as cybersecurity professionals, we need to build tech that will actually circumvent femicide, which is very difficult, but we're getting there.
Yeah. Sihle, I want you just 30 seconds. Early on, we said, of course, that Omotoso was found guilty. In fact, he was not found guilty. But just 30 seconds as you wrap your discussion point in terms of what Doreen has been saying, particularly in terms of coming together. Very quickly, please, if you can, Sihle.
I think indeed, if women can unlearn the rot of the Beazella notion, because our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunts grew up with the fact that if a man doesn't hit you, you need to Beazella. If that notion can be unlearned, trust me, then we will be able to feed into our children the new notion of speak out, do not keep quiet. There's no Beazella here. Make noise. Amplify your voice. Tell your neighbor, tell your neighbor's neighbor, tell the community, get the community on the ground to speak. That is why I always say, if somebody comes to you and says somebody sexually violated me, you don't get to say they didn't. The best thing you can do is assist that person by taking them to the nearest clinic, for them to see a psychologist, and for them to get checked to make sure that everything is fine. Don't be the one that will be the alpha and omega to say, no, but you're accusing them, they did not. And yes, of course, Omotoso, his case was thrown out, he wasn't found guilty. But what I was trying to say is that the Christian community then will turn it around and say, the Papa, the God of Omotoso, has done it for us. That is trying to play with people's psychological mentality. So if women come together and we unlearn the Beazella notion, that for me will be a plus and a beautiful way going forward for our society.
Fantastic. Sihle, thank you so much for your time. And Doreen, thank you so much to you too. SABC Clinic CEO Doreen Mokoena in studio with me, as well as virtually Kwanele Foundation founder Sihle SABC joining us there virtually, of course, just commenting around this the murder of 30-year-old Olorato Mongale. Police also saying, confirming there that they've arrested 2 suspects and have also secured and made a breakthrough, in fact, in the case by finding and seizing the vehicle in question that was allegedly used in the murder.